Hi yogis, Josie here. Welcome to the YogaLocal podcast. Today we're going to be talking about our theme, which is being woven through practices throughout July. And it invites us to really reflect on what is yoga. Yoga is a word which means to unify. So this kind of begs the question, what are we unifying with? And there's a little bit of a misconception that we are looking to unify with everything. External stuff, maybe, all that's out there. And as my teacher very wisely pointed out, there's definitely people out there that we do not want to be unifying with, situations we do not want to be unifying with. So what are we unifying with? Well, we are unifying with ourself. So this is where the theme comes in. Make friends with yourself. Capital S sense of self. Our most fullest, capable, most alive, vibrant version of ourself. Now, this is not a journey that you can take externally. It's an inward journey, and the practices of yoga offer the pathway, right? They're like the breadcrumbs. If we practice them, if we are disciplined, if we trust the process, it's a very clear, it's a very scientific, it's a very structured and time-tested way of guiding us back to true self. And true self being that remembrance that our innate nature is joyful, is contentment, is contented, that we are naturally vital and free. So there's an array of practices in yoga that form a complete practice. So, a big thing that I'm working on is to try and educate my members and anyone who wants to listen that practice is not just about postures. There's so many different practices, there's so many different aspects to practice that need to be followed in a very systemized way, in a way that was taught and has been taught for thousands of years. So it's often frustrating when people kind of dismiss the tradition that is woven into yoga, because really, we're really missing some of the magic if we choose to just dissect certain aspects of practice and just focus on one or two elements. So for example, my experience, and you can kind of please jump in if you have different experiences, but my experience as a practitioner and then moving into teaching has been that most Western yoga is all about or prioritizes the asana, the posture portion of practice. And I love asana, I love posture, I love physical activity. But the problem is, to simply practice asana is like having a car without the engine or the fuel or a driver, and it's not complete. It's not a complete practice. To make a complete practice, we're also looking at breath work, we're also looking at mantra, we're also looking at meditation, concentration, using energy in very specific ways to create a mental and physical environment where we can allow ourselves to go deeper and let those more truer aspects of our nature start to reveal themselves. So if you're not practicing in a complete way, if you're not ready and fully open to embracing yoga in its completeness, in its entirety, in its wholeness, then you have a car that is never going to get off the drive. It's going to be sat there kicking the tires. And personally, don't know about you, but I want to be going somewhere in that car and getting curious about life and going exploring, and that's what I want for my members too. So tradition is runs through this studio, like, you know, the name of like Skegness through a stick of rock, right? We are standing very firm in the why tradition, and following the tradition is such an important part of taking you somewhere, taking yourself into this promise of yoga. And yeah, not just tinkering around the edges and, you know, waxing the framework. You know, we need to get under the hood. So how does the practice help us? How does it equip us? So the tradition speaks to 5 obstacles that can get in the way of our progress and block our path to freedom and to self-discovery, self-remembrance. So this month we are systematically moving through these 5 obstacles, which are also called in Sanskrit kleshas. So the 5 kleshas are avidya, asmita, aversion, attachment, and fear of dying. Or this is actually, you know, one of those teachings in yoga that everyone goes, rah, you know, it kind of veers away from, but it's more like death as in endings, fear of things coming to an end. So all of these things are what the yoga tradition teaches us are likely to come up as obstacles on our pathway to making friends with our true sense of self and uncovering our innate joy, contentment and fulfillment. So to make friends with ourselves, we need to be practicing in a way that daily, on a daily basis, we hold up a mirror and look and reflect back on what needs to be removed, what needs to be revealed, what needs to be transformed, what needs to be transcended, so that we can go deeper, see more, feel more, restrict ourselves less. Through practices of breathing, asana, meditation, mantra, the whole complete practice, mudra, that's the opportunity that helps us to systematically work through all our patterns, all our resistance, and all of those things that just keep us where we are. They keep us on the driveway, right? We've got this shiny vehicle, but it's going nowhere. And that causes us to suffer because, you know, we're soul-driven humans and we desire growth. We desire adventure. We want to get out there. We want to discover. We want to explore. And we're just not using the tools that are available to us to kind of like start the engine and get those wheels turning. So practice done artfully, done in a way that it was meant to be taught in a systematic way, building us through very structured stages, can help us to move us out of our stuckness, start to remove the obstacles, remove the kleshas, and move us into this place of peace and joy that the yogis speak of, as opposed to just for the purposes of being able to do a headstand or to touch your toes or to master some really complex pose that resembles some kind of pretzel shape. Now, that is not easy. There is a lot to learn, and it's a hard path, it's a long path. And I think this is where we get unstuck, because we don't necessarily have the people and the situations and the teachings or the teachers that are ready and prepared to help you move along this journey in the way that it's meant to be walked. And yeah, you might be thinking, well, isn't it easier just to stick with the bending and the flexing and, you know, the getting hot and sweaty, you know, just stay in the physical. But you can tinker with your car all you like. You know, you can tinker with all that external stuff, but it's not going to get you anywhere. And quite frankly, you can do all that in your gym. Okay, I'm not saying that we don't need a strong vehicle. We need a vehicle that's ready and, you know, we need the foundations. We need that vehicle to carry us, but it's just such, on its own, it's useless. On its own, it's not going to take us anywhere. So complete practice is the message. Complete practice. Let's start to use the practice to move us along this pathway and get us to actually where we want to be and where we want to go. And let's just stop tinkering around the edges, and let's really get under the hood. I'm going to support you in that journey. We have a structured way of practicing. We teach yoga as it was meant to be taught. There is nothing that we make up. It's all designed to get us there in the most efficient way. Yogis are not messing around. Yogis are determined and committed practitioners who know that in order for change to become lasting and rewarding and meaningful, that there's some work to be done, and they're ready to take that on. And they're the kind of people that we're attracting here at the studio. You know, people who know that it might be tough, but the rewards are great. So if you're one of those fearless warrior type yogis who are ready to go deeper, who don't just want a shiny vehicle, they actually want a vehicle that takes them on some of the most amazing life adventures, then I encourage you to check us out. We are all over the place. We're on social. We have a great website. There's some really marvelous free entry-level tools. We have an app where our community is there to support you, where you can become more supported on your journey, and we can use and share other people's experiences to help us go into some of these more deeper practices, which are going to challenge us, are going to shake us up a little bit, are going to make us think. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I would love for those people that are willing to get under their hoods and start this journey to check us out. So all the details will be in the comment section or in the description, in the show notes. And if you do have any questions, then please do feel free to ask. I'd love to have more, two-way conversations with you guys about all this, and also to know and understand how this is landing, if this kind of is inspiring for you, but also just so that it can help us to improve how we teach and to just help to get these messages to land. As I said, I want to go somewhere with this whole yoga journey, and it's what I want for you guys too. So buckle up, enjoy the ride, and hopefully I'll see you in a class soon. Bye for now.